Kurt felt a chill despite the summer sun. He was at a bar, the same one he and Maryann frequented. He overheard snippets of a conversation. It was about him, about the bet. His bet with his so-called friends. A bet that painted him as a fool in love. He froze, his blood turning to ice. The voices mentioned Maryann. They spoke of her knowing about the bet from the start. This couldn't be true. It just couldn't be. He stumbled out of the bar, the world spinning around him. Maryann, his Maryann. She couldn't have known. The thought was like a physical blow. Kurt walked for what felt like hours, the revelation burning a hole in his chest. How could she? Why would she? The questions echoed endlessly in his mind. The betrayal settled in, a heavy weight on his chest. Each breath felt like a struggle. Maryann, the woman he loved, the woman he trusted, had betrayed him. The thought was unbearable. He felt like a fool, a laughingstock. His friends had used him, and Maryann had let them. The humiliation was almost physical, a bitter taste in his mouth. He remembered their laughter, their knowing glances. He had been so naive, so blinded by love. He had given them his heart on a silver platter, and they had crushed it. The world seemed to lose its color. Everything felt dull, meaningless. His love for Maryann, once vibrant and all-consuming, now felt tainted, poisoned. He paced the room, his hands clenched into fists. Each word was laced with venom, fueled by the betrayal that gnawed at him. Kurt, as Kurt. They were laughing at me, Maryann, and you were in on it. He stormed into their apartment, slamming the door behind him. Maryann was there, her face a mask of surprise. The sight of her ignited the fury that had been simmering inside him. You knew, he roared, his voice shaking with anger. You knew about the bet all along. The words hung in the air, thick with accusation. Maryann's eyes widened, her face paling. Kurt, she began, but he cut her off, his voice a mixture of rage and pain. How could you? He paced the room, his hands clenched into fists. Each word was laced with venom, fueled by the betrayal that gnawed at him. They were laughing at me, Maryann, and you were in on it.
Kurt, please let me explain.
Maryann stood there, tears streaming down her face. But Kurt was beyond listening. He didn't want explanations. He didn't want excuses. He just wanted the pain to stop. He wanted to go back to a time when he didn't feel like his world was falling apart. Her tears, usually his solace, now fueled his anger. Her silence was deafening. It was an admission of guilt, a confirmation of his worst fears. He looked at her, really looked at her, and saw a stranger. The woman he loved, the woman he thought he knew, was gone. S1, explain what? That you betrayed me? That you thought it was funny? The argument raged on, each word a venomous barb, tearing their relationship apart. The love they had shared, once a fortress, crumbled into dust. They hurled accusations and insults like weapons, each blow drawing blood. There were no winners in this fight, only casualties. As the night wore on, the fight drained the life out of them, leaving behind a hollow silence. The air was thick with unspoken words, with the bitter taste of betrayal. They sat there, miles apart in the same room, their love a casualty of a cruel joke. The silence was deafening, a testament to the damage they had inflicted upon each other. The following days were a blur of pain and confusion. Kurt couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't escape the memories of their fight. Her betrayal etched into his mind. He loved her, he still loved her. But the trust, the foundation of their relationship, was shattered, broken beyond repair. He didn't know what to do, where to go. The future stretched before him, bleak and uncertain. The pain was unbearable, a constant ache in his chest.
He had to get away, to clear his head, to figure out what he wanted, what he could salvage from the wreckage of their love. He packed a bag, his heart heavy with unshed tears. As he walked out the door, he cast one last glance at their apartment, a place that once held so much happiness, now a painful reminder of what he had lost.